Hello and welcome everyone. I hope this message finds you fit and fine. Today we need to discuss parliamentary committees. As the name suggests, Parliament Committee. It means members within the Parliament are part of these parliamentary committees. Now, why we need these committees? Consider a situation, a bill is presented before Lok Sabha. Do you think every member in Lok Sabha would be interested enough to understand the technicalities of these bills? Answer would be no. Do you think every member in Lok Sabha, Raj Sabha would be having this intellect to understand the intricacies of these bills? Answer would be no. Along with these bills, there are various other functions within the parliament. To ease this process, we need parliamentary committees. So what four conditions are necessary to call a committee a parliamentary committee? These are the four conditions. There can be a question from there. UPSC can say ki which of the following statements are, you can say, related to parliamentary committees, right? So first of all, members within parliamentary committee can be elected by the House, or these members can be nominated by the Speaker in case of Lok Sabha and Chairman in case of Raj Sabha. It means members in parliamentary committees can be elected or can be nominated. It depends on the which parliamentary committee we are talking about, right? But if UPSC uses the word parliamentary committee, so election, nomination both works. Okay. Now, works under direction of Speaker in case of Lok Sabha, Chairman in case of Raj Sabha, presents its report before the House. Before the House means presiding officer, Speaker, Chairman, and provided with Secretariat. Secretariat means there will be dedicated staff will be provided by Lok Sabha in case of Lok Sabha specific parliamentary committee, by the Raj Sabha in case of Raj Sabha specific committee. Okay, secretarial staff is necessary for the functioning, right? Staff is needed by these members of the parliament. Now, there is another word, consultative committee. So you should know that if these four conditions are not met, then you cannot call that committee as parliamentary committee. Okay, this is what is mentioned here. Now we can divide these parliamentary committees into two parts: a standing committee, ad hoc committee. A standing committee, it means permanent nature. For example, a committee is constituted. Now members will be part of this standing committee for 1 year. After that, there will be new election. But this committee will exist, right? Because these committees are among the most important category committees. But there are others, ad hoc committee. As the name suggests, temporary in nature. For example, there's a coal scam in India, and we need a specific committee to discuss, or you can say scrutinize, what happened in case of coal ministry and what were the policy failure. So this is an ad hoc committee. Once it presents its report, its job is done, it will be dissolved. Clear? So this is the broad difference between standing and ad hoc committee. When we say standing committee, as I told you, it's permanent in nature. We can divide it into 6 parts. First, finance committees we need to discuss. Let's discuss finance committees. So finance committees, there are 3 finance committees: Public Accounts Committee, Estimate Committee, and this Committee on Undertaking. Public undertakings. Public undertakings means we are talking about PSUs, BHEL, right? GAIL. You must have heard about these government companies, right? Now, as the name suggests, finance, it means these committees are there to keep a check on the finances, you can say, used by the executive, right? So let's have a comparison between these 3 committees, starting from Estimate Committee. What comes into your mind when you use the word estimate? Means estimate has something to do with the amount which is going to be used, right? So it was established in 1950 on the recommendation of Mr. John Mathai, who was then Finance Minister of India. Consists of 30 members, and it actually do the detailed examination of the budget estimates. As I told you, estimate means budget. We are talking about total amount which this government is taking permission from the parliament to spend. So in this case, estimate committee is going to scrutinize it. But there's an intricacy here which you need to understand. Many people get confused between working of estimate committee and role of departmental committees. Second point is departmental standing committee. These are different. When you go to this budget process, you will get to know when this budget is presented. After that, Lok Sabha Speaker would say, okay, now go for adjournment, say 2-3 days, 4 days. Read the draft budget copy is presented presented to every member of the House. I'm talking about Lok Sabha. And then this matter is also referred to these departmental committees. Standing departmental committees, there are 24 in number. Department here represents specific ministries. For example, in budget, it says that we need 1,36,000 crore for the health department. Now, Departmental Committee on Health will actually look into this, right? But when this debate happens, after this debate, then there is a voting process, and when vote is done, then estimate committee is also there to keep a check, to advise how you can actually improve. You can say how you can actually increase the efficiency of your spending, right? So report what economy improvements in organization, what you can improve, efficiency, administrative reforms consist with the policy underlying the estimates may be affected. Okay, so this is the role of estimate committee. I'm going to talk about the limitations of estimate committee as well after this. First, let's talk about the broad points which define these committees. Now, Public Accounts Committee, public account, established in 1921 and under the provisions of Government of India Act 1919, means it was started by Britishers. Consists of 15 members from Lok Sabha, 7 members from Raj Sabha, it means 22 members. Here there were 30 members, here there are 22 members. Since 1967, member of opposition is considered as chairman. Now, why this convention was made? You should question this in mind. My friends, the purpose of Public Account Committee is to check whether the government has spent as per the permission this government took from the House. For example, during the budget, government took permission, I'm going to spend this much amount in these heads. Done. But means you have done that expenditure. Now CAG is auditing that, and CAG found, oh, government took permission to spend this in this head, but there's discrepancy there. So now CAG may put this particular matter in his report, and this report is presented to President. President sends this report to House. In House, this report is presented before Public Accounts Committee. CAG is considered as friend, philosopher, guide of Public Account Committee. Means Public Account Committee work in close coordination with CAG. CAG's report is important for Public Account Committee, right? So in this manner, Public Account Committee can actually keep a question in the House from that ministry, what you have done. There are discrepancies in your audit report. So don't you think in this particular context, members of Public Account Committee are questioning the government, right? So if we have some member of opposition party as the chairman, don't you think it will do better job? If chairman is from ruling party, then why this ruling party chairman will actually question its own government? He need to take or she need to take care of his or her political career ahead, right? So that is why this convention was started. And you must be thinking why this was not mentioned in constitution. My friends, there was a time when every party, means every state, and when it comes to Lok Sabha, means this was, there was complete dominance of Congress, right? So how can you find opposition party at that point of time, right? Quite troublesome job. And that is why it was made. It examines the appropriation of accounts. As I told you, appropriation means permission you took, and the finance accounts along with any other account laid before the Lok Sabha. It is assisted by CAG. I think this point is clear to you, right? Now yes, Committee on Public Undertakings. Undertakings means PSUs we are talking about. Established in 1964, date is not important, but on the recommendation of Krishna Menon Committee. Why it was made in 1964? Just understand the time period. Government was actually spending hugely in public sector undertakings, means government companies were getting established. Huge amount of money from public exchequer was getting pumped in there. So that we can keep a check, that amount is spent well, right? Parliament should know that, and that is why this committee was made. So there are 15 plus 7 members, same as Public Accounts Committee, and they keep a check on these spendings or the financial part of PSUs. Okay, what profit you have made, what expenditure you have done. Now, limitations of Public Account Committee. What are the limitations? First of all, it cannot question the policy because expenditure is already done in the debt policy. You are there to post-mortem examination, right? Job is done. Recommendations are advisory in nature. The recommendations they give to the House, they are advisory in nature, Not vested with the power to disallowance of expenditure, because expenditure is already done. How can you actually disallow government to spend, right? Not an executive body, hence cannot issue an order. Please remember, it cannot issue an order. It can only bring this matter in front of House. It can create this debate there, right? But cannot issue order. Final decision on the findings lies with the Parliament. Then we have limitations of Estimates Committee. So examines the budget estimates only after they have been voted by the Parliament. Please remember, there can be a question from here, right? Because when it comes to departmental committees, when they scrutinize budget of respective ministry, they actually talk about this before this voting is done, right? Estimate committee, it takes care of the whole budget. But in practical manner, if you ask me, then the whole budget to be scrutinized in detailed manner by estimate committee in that particular time is not possible. So they also do the selective work. So they cannot question the policy. Recommendations are advisory, examines every year only certain selected ministries and departments, as I told you. Lacks expert assistance by the CAG, like this expert assistance of CAG is available to PAC, but not to Estimates Committee, right? It works is also post-mortem, means it is done, voting is done. Limitation on public undertakings. It cannot examine more than 10 to 12 PSUs. If I ask you how many public sector undertakings, means government companies, central government has, what would be your answer? Rough guess. I hope you have heard about these words: Maharatna companies, Navaratna companies, Mini Ratna companies. Once UPSC asked this question in Prelims as well. What conditions qualify a company, government company, to be regarded as Maharatna company? So I'm asking you, so you can just search about it, but I'm asking you, rough estimate, what do you think? Some of you might be thinking, sir, Navaratna you are saying, it means 9 companies. Maharatna you are saying, so it may be 5-6 companies. And Mini Ratna, mini is like 10 to 20 companies, so it would be around, say, 30-40, right? But there are more than 300 government companies, my friends, more than 300, okay? And to keep a tab on the financial aspects there, from the Parliament, we have Committee on Public Undertakings. Nature is post-mortem, does not look into technical matters. Recommendations are advisory. So one thing you got, which is common, is that public account estimate or this Committee on Public Undertakings, they're advisory in nature, right? Now, Departmental Standing Committee. They secure more accountability of the executive. That is the Council of Ministers to the Parliament, particularly financial accountability, because these committees are specific, ministry specific. So they also assist Parliament in debating the budget more effectively, because I told you during the adjustment part, these budget are referred to these respective departmental committees, right? They bring their arguments so that quality debate can happen on budget. Each standing committee consists of 31 members, 21 from Lok Sabha and 10 from Rajya Sabha. That's fact. Now, how many members are there in Estimate Committee? 30. How many members are there in this PAC? 22 plus 7, right? UPSC has asked question, statement on these member strength as well. Lok Sabha are nominated by the Speaker. In case of Rajya Sabha, nominated by Chairman. Ministers are not eligible to be member of departmental committees. Why? Because these departmental committees are made to keep a check on the expenditure part, financial probity part of these ministries. So if minister herself is part of this departmental committee, then why would that person be critical about his own ministry or her own ministry, right? The term of office of each standing committee is 1 year from the date of the constitution, from the date they are made. The functions of each of the standing committee: demand for grants, they question that. Now, departments before they are discussed and voted, as I told you, means after voting, the matter is taken up by estimate committee. Before voting, the matter are taken by respective departmental committees. Not suggesting anything to the nature, cut motion, means they cannot say that please reduce this much amount from this particular budget. Means you have allocated 10,000 crore for this scheme, please reduce this. This is not the job of departmental committee. Please understand this and remember this. This is a, you can say, fact part, but UPSC can play on that. Okay. Examine the bill of respective ministry, and you can say also consider the annual report of that particular ministry. Also consider the long-term policy document presented to the House. Okay. So what you got, that these departmental committees are engaged in budget, specific bills, annual report, and long-term document, right? Limitations. First of all, should not consider the matters of they are not engaged into day-to-day matter of ministry. So some people say that day-to-day administration of ministry should also be under check by the Parliament. So this is not the job which is entitled to the departmental committees as of now. Should not generally consider matters which are considered other parliamentary committees. So this is a feature. Means if you are a member of a standing committee of the department, say coals, but a particular matter, policy matter, is being discussed by other committee, so you cannot take up that. It should not be note that recommendation of these committees are advisory. Other limitation. Now, merits of the standing committee system in the Parliament. There can be a means based question also. Okay, provision based. So their proceedings are devoid of any party basis, biases, right? They can be neutral because there's a mixture of different parties within these departmental committees. Yes, mixture of different parties. More flexible, parliamentary control over executive, ensures economy and efficiency in public expenditure via their recommendations, and they actually, when they present their report, it also helps other members to understand these bills in a better manner, understand the functioning of the government in a better manner. So in this context, these departmental committees becomes important. Now we have committee to inquire. As the name suggests, inquire. Inquire means inquiry. Committee on petitions, committee on privileges, and ethics committee. Now committee on petitions. What is the meaning of petition? Petition means some people have certain representation which may include reservation, changes, support, unhappiness, any sort of suggestion. So these petitions are actually taken up by this committee on petitions, petition on bills on the matter of public importance. Also entertains representations. It may be from all over the India. There may be certain groups, certain members who have certain ideas. They want particular bill to be made. So such kind of petitions can be heard by this committee on petitions. Okay, and for that we have separate committee in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Okay, in Lok Sabha committee there are 15 members. In Rajya Sabha committee there are 10 members. Then we have committee on privileges. In the previous class I told you about the privilege, collective privilege, individual privilege. I hope you remember, right? So now when these privileges are broken, who is going to take the action? This action is taken by this committee on privilege. So committee are semi-judicial, means because they are going to decide whether their privilege has been broken or not, right? So breach of privilege, they are going to examine, and they are going to actually suggest appropriate action also. In case of Lok Sabha, we have 15. In case of Rajya Sabha, we have 10 members in this committee. Okay, please remember we have separate committee. So here also 15 member in committee of Lok Sabha, 10 member committee of Rajya Sabha, same here. But when it comes to ethics committee, so this ethics committee was constituted in Rajya Sabha in 1997, in Lok Sabha in 2000. Enforces code of conduct. So purpose, what is the purpose? Purpose is that there should be some ground rules which should be adhered by members of parliament, right? For that this ethics committee is made. It is engaged in maintaining the discipline and decorum in the parliament. It should not be like that people are actually pulling out mic and throwing paper, right? There should be decorum. So for that decorum, we have ethics committee. Now we have committee to scrutinize and control. Now, scrutinize and control. What does it scrutinize means? It means something has been done within the house. Now there's a committee to keep a check whether this thing is actually true, factually or not. So we have committee on government assurances. It is quite easy. From the name, it is quite clear. I'm going to discuss committee on subordinate legislation, paper laid, welfare, SC/ST, empowerment of women, and office of profit. Let's take one by one. Consider you are a minister and you presented some report, some paper before the floor, before the house, right? So it's going to examine the assurances, promises, undertakings given by the minister. So if you have made the promise, so please understand the difference between the two. when it comes to committee on assurance, if you have given some assurance to the House, then this committee is going to keep a check whether the assurance you have given is actually being met or not. Okay, this is assurance. Okay, when I was using the word bill, paper, so that is taken care by other committee, that is committee on paper laid on the table. Okay, so it is quite clear from the name itself. So now in the Lok Sabha, it consists of these 15 members, Rajya Sabha, it consists of 10 members, same. Okay, just remember the name assurance, government assurance. Government has given this assurance and Parliament is going to keep a tab on it. It is quite simple, right? Now, Committee on Subordinate Legislation. What was subordinate legislation? I told you in the previous class. It simply means Parliament passed a law, but that law was a broad structure. There were some sections within that particular bill and these were broad, means detail was not there. So detail was later filled by the executive branch. It means department bureaucrats themselves. And these bureaucrats then actually filled that particular bill with the detail. And this is called subordinate legislation or delegated legislation, because this legislation was not totally made by Parliament. This legislation was actually filled in detail by executive. Although that subordinate legislation need to be presented before House again, right? But the major work is done by executive here. So whether this executive is doing its job in a correct manner or not, for that we have Committee on Subordinate Legislation. I guess it is quite clear to you now. In both the houses, the committee consists of 15 members, both the houses. Okay. Now, committee paper laid on the table, paper laid. So who is presenting paper? Ministers. So if ministers have actually presented some paper, bill, so now we need to check whether that content of that paper, content of the bill is as per the constitution or an act or the rule of the Parliament. There are three things. Whether those papers, the content is as per the constitution, as per the act, as per the rules of the House. So this is the job of committee on paper laid on the table. Now we have committee for the welfare of SCs and STs. As the name suggests, purpose of this committee is to keep a close coordination with the report which is actually presented by National Commission for SC, National Commission for ST. Also take into consideration whether statutory protections which are given, constitutional protections which are given to this section, whether they are being implemented or not. Along with this, third function is the welfare schemes which are made for this section, are they working or not? So these things are actually done by Committee on Welfare of SCs and STs. New ideas can also be taken up for discussion by this committee. We have Committee on Empowerment of Women, same as Committee for SC and STs is actually taking up and discussing the report for National Commission for SC and ST. Similarly, here we have this committee discussing report from National Commission for Women. Okay, you have this National Commission for SC, National Commission for ST in your constitutional bodies as well. Now we have Joint Committee on Office of Profit. Office of Profit, you know, this can be a basis of disqualification. So what amounts to Office of Profit is going to be decided by this Joint Committee on Office of Profit. The committee examines the composition and character of committees and other bodies appointed by the centre, state, union territory government, and recommends whether the person holding these office should be disqualified from being elected as a member of Parliament. The point is whether to know whether this amounts to Office of Profit or not. It consists of 15 members, 10 Lok Sabha and 5 Rajya Sabha. I think it is clear. Now 5 committees related to day-to-day business of the House. Day-to-day business. What are the day-to-day business of the House? To actually present the bill, to get it passed, to finalize the agenda, to prioritize which bill is going to be given the primacy, right? So we have this Business Advisory Committee, Committee on Private Member Bill, Rules Committee, Committee on Absence members. Business Advisory Committee. Business. What is the business of House? As I told you, this legislative work. So regulates the program, the timetable of the House. You know, allocates the time to the members. Lok Sabha committee consists of 15 members, including Speaker as chairman. Please remember, in Lok Sabha Business Advisory Committee, chairman will be Speaker. In Rajya Sabha, it has 11 members, including chairman, ex officio chairman, right? So it means Vice President, Chairman of Rajya Sabha is going to be the Chairman of Business Advisory Committee. Please remember, Speaker, Chairman, they are the head of these Business Advisory Committee of respective House. This kind of statement can be made. Now, Committee on Private Member Bills and Resolutions. Private member bill. It means a bill which is presented by someone who is not a minister, right? So now to classify these bills, to allocate time to these bills by the private members, chairman of this particular committee is deputy speaker, right? Rajya Sabha does not have any such committee. Please remember, Rajya Sabha does not have any such committee as Committee on Private Member Bill and Resolution. Now you must be thinking, so what happens with the private member bills of Rajya Sabha? If some private member is introducing bill in Rajya Sabha, who is going to allocate time? So for this case, Business Advisory Committee of Rajya Sabha is going to take care of it. Okay, clear? There can be a question from here. Please remember, exceptions are there. Rules Committee. For any game, you need rules. So if Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha has to play their game in effective manner, you need rules, and you need to redefine your rules. You need new rules with new challenges as well. So this committee considers the matters of procedure, conduct of the House, recommend necessary amendment to the rules of the House. Lok Sabha committee consists of 15 and Speaker as the ex officio chairman. Speaker ex officio chairman of Rules Committee. Rajya Sabha consists of 16 members and the chairman is ex officio chairman. So by now what you got, when it comes to committees which deal with day-to-day business, these are headed by respective presiding officers. Committee on Absence of Members. Consider you are a member of Parliament and you have not present in the last 60-day proceedings of the House without any intimation to the House. Then, my friend, this can be a basis of your disqualification. In Lok Sabha, your matter will be taken up by Committee on Absence of Members. In Rajya Sabha, we don't have any such committee. In Rajya Sabha, if you are absent for 60 days, this amounts to actually be a ground for your disqualification, but this matter will be taken up directly by the House. Okay, this is the difference. Please remember, there can be a question from here. This is a factual part, 15 members in Lok Sabha, and Rajya Sabha you don't have any such committee. Now, housekeeping committees. We have General Purpose Committee, House Committee, Library Committee, Joint Committee on Salaries and Allowances, Basic Work. General Purpose Committee, for any matter which is not taken up by other committees, which we have discussed till now, those matters will be considered as general matter. So these matters will be coming under the jurisdiction of General Purpose Committee. House Committee. Consider you become a member of Parliament. You need house, you need perks, you need facilities, food, medical aid, etc. So whether members of Parliament are provided these houses and allocation has been done in a better manner. So this is going to be taken up by House Committee. So it's not for us, it's for Member of Parliament. Now, Library Committee, as the name suggests, is going to take care of the Library of the Parliament, right? Library of the Parliament. Now, Joint Committee on Salaries and Allowances. So this committee was made after an Act of Parliament under the Salary, Allowances and Pensions of the Members of Parliament Act 1954. Okay, as the name suggests, is going to take up these cases. It consists of 15 members, 10 from Lok Sabha and 5 from Rajya Sabha. It is one committee. It is not like two houses have two committees. It is one committee. Please remember, these kind of details UPSC is going to play around, but you are not going to mark wrong. Adhoc Committee, Temporary Committee. We have Inquiry and we have this Advisory Committee, Temporary, Specific Purpose. For example, these are list of some committees which were made in past and which also got dissolved with time as they served their purpose. You need not to cram these committees, obviously. What is the purpose of, so these were inquiry committees. Inquiry made, report done, dissolved. Then we also had advisory committees, time to time. Advisory committees, we have two types, for example, Select Committee, Joint Committee. Select Committee if Advisory Committee of a specific House, Joint Committee if this is a Joint Committee of Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha members coming together. It can be on a concerned specific bill or a procedure to be followed on a specific matter. So we have two kind of committees, Select and Joint. Okay, purpose is just to advise the House, and when advice is done, then you are done. Now just attempt this question. Which of the following committees of Lok Sabha is assisted by CAG? I told you it is Public Accounts Committee. Which one of the following is the correct function of Public Accounts Committee? Come on. It works under President of India, creates account of various ministries. It works under CAG of India, it prepares account. It's a parliamentary committee which gives report to known plan expenditure of government. It is a parliamentary committee which scrutinizes the report of the CAG. It is correct, right? Which one of the following nominates the chairman of Public Accounts Committee? Who nominates the chairman of the Public Accounts Committee? Now we have Prime Minister, we have President, we have Speaker of Lok Sabha, Chairman. Tell me. So tell me first of all, do you have separate Public Accounts Committee for Lok Sabha, Raj Sabha? No. You have one Public Accounts Committee, right? 15 plus 7 members told you. But when it comes to Chairman, this is done by Speaker of Lok Sabha. Okay. National Disaster Response Fund is allocated in which fund? I told you about 3 funds, right? Consolidated Fund of India, Contingency Fund, then Public Accounts. When it comes to NDRF, it comes under Public Accounts. Okay. So I hope things are clear to you now. This PDF will be available in Shashank Tyagi for you Telegram group. If you have any doubt from any topic, until now, you can shoot me a message on Instagram, shashank.powerbeing. I'll be happy to help you out. See you in the next video. Till then, keep learning, keep growing.